I think as a community, we need to learn how to say no, especially a grown person from Ghana calling you for money all the time.
Yeah.
A lot of times what I realized and what made me start looking at the financial advisor environment is because I realized that most people don't have credit problems. We have financial problems. A lot of clients, I implement what I call an expense tracker. An expense tracker for you to track your expenses so that you're able to account for every penny that is leaving your account.
Hello, everyone, and once again, welcome to Presenting Canada to the World. And today I have a very special guest who has the same last name as me, and there is no one other than Porcia Boateng. So Porcia Boateng currently lives in Canada, and she's a financial advisor. So today we're just going to have a general conversation about Porcia and what she's been doing and what the future holds for her. So without any further delay, Porcia, I would like to welcome you to the platform. If you can introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, especially your journey from Ghana to Canada.
Okay, thank you so much for inviting me. It is such a pleasure. And there's so much alignment because you're Kwabena Boateng. I'm Abena, right? Yes.
Okay.
I'm Abena. And it's a pleasure to be here, and it's very an honor because this one is actually tied to me. I'm a Ghanaian. So I get to talk about who I am as a Ghanaian. So it's a privilege and an honor. So like he mentioned, my name is Porcia Boateng, and I have been in Canada since 98. So that's about 24 years, right? That's about 24 years, right? And I came here when I was about 11, almost 12 years old. And, coming from Ghana to Canada as a young person, you don't even have any expectation. You're just told that you're going from here to there, and you just follow what they're telling you to do, right? Especially growing up in Ghana, the way the system is and the way we are raised, we just follow the leader, right?
Yes.
Children here just like, they will talk back and do some stuff, but we were very raised with manners, right? Here, we're raised with manners, but it's just a different life, right? So I came here, started going to school here, and I've been here ever since. I love it, but I believe that as I am growing up, I am starting to value my identity as a Ghanaian.
Wow.
Whereas when I came to Canada, I try to run away from my identity as a Ghanaian.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And, when you first come here back in the day, it was very difficult to fit in because as an African, you were bullied. Because as an African, these, the culture here, they're associating you as what they see on TV, which is all those hungry kids with the flies flying up their noses and naked and all of that, right? So when you come here, they make it difficult for you. And, kids are mean, right? You're bullied, you're this and that. So I grew up running away from that because I worked hard to get rid of my accent.
Yes.
I worked hard. I remember sometimes people would be like, "Oh, you look like a Ghanaian," and it used to make you look like an African. It used to get me so upset.
Yeah.
I was so angry for somebody saying that I look like a Ghanaian because looking like a Ghanaian was not accepted.
True.
We've come such a long way now where people are starting to embrace African culture, right? Where it's become the in thing. But back in the day, it wasn't. And a lot of us lost our identity trying to be somebody else, because you know what? Even the Jamaicans will not accept you as an African. The Jamaicans, we look the same, but even the white kids are making fun of you, calling you, African booty scratcher and stuff like that. And then you go to the black because they look like you, and then they also are trying to ostracize you, right? So it was very, very difficult, but I'm glad that as I'm getting older, I'm starting to get back to my roots. I'm starting to really accept who I am as an African and see that I have power. right? I have
Yes.
power to transform my continent. And that's what my mission is right now, to do all that I can do to make sure that the transition between Ghana and Canada, that we can put it together and really start to build our community here and our community back home.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. I think we all face similar challenges. I came here around the same time that you came here, so I can really identify with you exactly what you went through. So yeah, thank you for that. So moving on now, I know you have lived in Canada for some time though, and you have been through the school systems, and you actually been through actual working process. Can you tell me a little bit about some of the benefits that Canada has provided you, as opposed to maybe if you lived in Ghana? Some of the benefit that Canada has provided you and some platform that it has provided you.
You know what? Okay, so this might not be the answer that you're expecting, but like I said, I've been really, really reflecting and looking at life in Ghana and life here. And I think I want all of us to really sit there and do our research before we leave Ghana to come here. Because, as I'm growing up, I am starting to learn that, you know what? Life in Ghana was probably better than here.
Okay.
Right? Because you know what? I think a lot of times we are running away from our homeland, right? But if all of us run away from there, but then we want a better Ghana that we can go visit, how does that work when we're all running away? True. And even I remember when I first came to Canada, I started grade 7. And when I started grade 7, I was like, okay, some of the things that we were learning, I had learned it in P4, P3. And they're learning it. I thought these kids were kind of dumb because I'm like, they don't. And then when they couldn't answer, I'm like, they're making fun of me, but they don't even know these things. Like, the level of education, if you really compare it, right? It's usually better. Right? It's just that North American, because I believe people desire North American education because because society looks at North American education as superior. But that's the thing. It's superior to who? Right? We can navigate things anyway. I've been to, I have my undergraduate, I have all these degrees, but at the end of the day, we are seeking all these things that a lot of times, most of us are not even working in the degrees that we went and spent all this money to get. But this is all to say that, we need to really start to sit down and look at how do we rebuild Ghana?
Yes.
How do we rebuild? Because rebuilding Ghana, and we're focused on leaving, then we can never rebuild Ghana, because Ghana, all these professionals that Canada goes to sort for depletes our economy from those things. So if we come here, then in the end, what's going to happen? We're going to have the prime minister trying to go to other countries to bring all those people from there to come and build what we have the capacity to build.
Yes.
So I think we need to start looking at, because society says that African education is not good enough, doesn't mean it's not good enough.
Yeah. I think it kind of ties back to what you were saying before, right? It's just the whole look. And I think we all struggled too. Even when we came here, we did not want to identify ourselves as Ghanaians or even Africans. And I think the same way we looked at ourselves, probably is the same way other people also looked at ourselves. So I can definitely identify with you on that. Yeah. So speaking of that now, I know you're very passionate about the Ghanaian community. What are some of your involvements in the Ghanaian community in Canada and the ways that they can better themselves? What are some of your involvement and some of activities you have been involved recently?
Yeah. So the involvement, because when I made a decision to really use my gift, because one thing about the Bible is that the Bible says that your gift will make room for you. Right?
Yes.
So I started looking at, these are some gifts that I have. These are some experiences that I have. But then I started looking at, growing up, our parents used to say, charity begins at home. Right? So I have all these gifts, all these experiences, all these business ideas that I want to do. But I started realizing, I need to use that to serve my community.
Yes, yes,
How do I
yes.
serve my community with my gifts?
Mm-hmm.
So, I looked at, okay, what type of groups in the Ghanaian community that I can connect myself with?
Mm-hmm.
The Ghanaian community in Canada is a very tight-knit community,
Mm-hmm.
right? But because I wasn't involved in the community, now I'm getting to know people that will get me. I call, we have gatekeepers that will
Mm-hmm.
get me access
Mm-hmm.
to the communities and the association. So I became, I aligned myself with the GCAO, which is
Mm-hmm.
a Ghanaian Canadian Associations of Ontario. And I
Right.
really believe in the vision that they have for our community. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not just a vision for Canada, but a vision for even Ghana. So
Mm-hmm.
I decided to associate myself with them, and also even the local churches going out there mobilizing to really, because the churches tends to have a really great authority when it comes to how to access the community,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Through the local churches and stuff like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's one thing that I'm doing, communicating with them. And right now,
Mm-hmm.
financial education and financial literacy is
Mm-hmm.
one thing that I'm really trying to mobilize in our community, because
Okay.
I believe that the wealth creation and how we
Mm-hmm.
reclaim the wealth, because I was looking at an article and it says that, Black people,
Mm-hmm.
right,
Mm-hmm.
are the second contributors when it comes to spending in our economy.
I'm not
We are,
surprised. I'm
yes,
not surprised.
$1.9 trillion buying power.
Wow.
That's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
We are spending, spending, spending,
Mm-hmm.
right? But we don't have any net worth
Mm-hmm.
to match the spending,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the whole goal is to really look
Mm-hmm.
at how do we get some of that money back,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I believe that the world's economic issue right now is
Mm-hmm.
the lack of financial literacy. Because
Yes.
I believe that if we fix we educate people about basic financial education,
Mm-hmm.
then we are going to help relieve crime.
Yeah.
We're going to help to relieve poverty.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to help to relieve a lot of the things that is going on in our community that's kind of taking over.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these kids who we look at all the crime rates going on right now and all the shootings going on right now in our city, if we really start to take a look and really start to study the trends, it's because a lot of these kids are trying to get money because maybe their parents did not have money. Their parents struggle. So they made a decision, you know what? I'm going to make sure my mom doesn't have to do that, right? I got to make sure I got to take care of my family. So they go out there and these are the options that they get, and they use that as a way to get money, right? But if we taught people, educate people about how to, better understand how money works. If we taught people the value of actually families coming back together, because families are so separated. So because my focus right now is really putting back the family unit by teaching financial education and normalizing generational wealth.
Excellent.
Right?
Excellent.
Because
Excellent.
if you put the family back together, because the enemy is after breaking up families.
Yes, yes, all the
Because
time.
the unity, right? When there's a family united, nobody can break that, right?
True,
And
true.
the thing that a lot of families are fighting over is what? Money situations. Money is the cause of divorce.
Yes.
So how do we teach people about money? Even looking at the foundations of where did you get your money understanding from? What's your money paradigm? So that's what I'm very focused on doing right now. Just really putting out content, putting out education, putting out workshops. That's really going to help to mobilize that thought for us to really do what we can so that the next generation can have the financial education.
Excellent, excellent. And I think as a community, I'm also guilty of that as well. I think that's one of the areas that we really lack when it comes to those financial literacies and so. So I know you are very financially sound, and in terms of specific products, like you do some mortgaging, you do financial advisory. So is there anything that you can really share with the platform or individuals watching the show, specifically the Ghanaian community within the diaspora here? Is there any specific product that you service that they can actually benefit from you that you would like to talk about?
I think one thing that I want to talk about, because if we, we all know about investing, we all know about saving money, but I think our community, one thing that we need to really have a different mindset is when it comes to proper protection, when it comes to making sure that we have critical illness, making sure that we have life insurance available. Right? Because a lot of us, because one thing I hear when you talk about life insurance, obi peso kumiana, you know what I mean? I don't know what planning it's not about that. Right? Because remember, if you really start to understand, and if you really start to look at even the wealthy, right? The wealthy uses life insurance as an avenue, as a vehicle for wealth creation, for wealth building.
How is that? How does it work? You have to explain a
Because
little bit.
you have universal life insurance, right? And your universal life insurance is a hybrid where there is insurance and there's also an investment, right? So you can have it at once where there's money growing as you're putting money in. And with insurance, yes, you have to qualify. Not everybody might be able to qualify for insurance, but it's an avenue that, let's say, you can even get access to that money, let's say at retirement, to add that onto your retirement income. Right? And it's money that you can access tax-free. There's so much information on YouTube. There's so much information. And that's what I want to start to really bring to our people. I know a lot of people have dealt with financial advisors where they only sold you a term policy and then you lost it and then that. But I want to tell you guys that there's other opportunities. There's other options that are available that you can tap into. Right? That will allow you to even benefit in the long run. But I think sometimes we're ignorant because we don't know. Right? We're ignorant because we don't know. And it says that lack of knowledge, my people perish, right? But that's why I'm in a place where I understand, because I hear what the community is saying. So now how do I position myself so that I can bring them the education for them to be able to understand the value in the reasons why these things are offered? Because, I always tell people I've planned 3 funerals within the last 7 years.
Wow.
Right? And out of those the 3 funerals, only one person had life insurance.
Wow. So what difference did it make, having it and not having it? Like, you plan it. What difference did that make in terms of that?
Because the thing is, a lot of times, we have a very great community where, the community comes together. You have a funeral and, money is raised that, but that's the thing. How long can that 17,000 or 20,000 last, especially when there's little children involved, especially when there's a home where, let's say, the mom and the dad and the kids, but the dad took care of everything. Now the dad, God forbid, no longer is there. Now the mom doesn't even know what to do. Right? She doesn't even know what to do. And there's no money that she can even access to be able to help her in the meantime. Right? And that's why it's important to have these things, because it's not about, no, it's not about that. It's about how do you put something in place that if you're not there, your family do not have to be bankrupt. Your family do not have to lose everything, right? Especially if you have a home. We can make sure that we roll your home into there. So when you pass away, there's enough money to even pay off your mortgage.
Wow.
Where your family don't have to worry. Right? Don't have to worry about paying a mortgage. Don't have to worry about that bill.
And these are all some of the services that if people come and see you, you'll be able to help them?
Yes.
Okay. Is it the only service, or I know I was reading your profile, you also did a little bit of real estate, and also you have some sort of recruitment going on?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about the real estate side and some of the recruitment that you're also doing. Maybe it might benefit the community and someone like myself.
Yeah. So basically, with the real estate side, it's more, I'm a mortgage agent too, right? Okay. So I'm a mortgage agent. And as a mortgage agent, I get to position myself to help our community through the financial to be able, because there's a lot of people who are like, you know what? I want to be a homeowner, but I don't know how to start. I don't have the money to be able to put on down payment. And I have the opportunity where I can help you from the beginning to the end. right?
Wow.
Implement strategies in place to make sure that you can save up, you can do all the things that you need to do to be able to purchase, right?
Wow.
And then on top of that, I'm also a credit coach.
Okay, what does
Because
that
I
mean?
noticed that, I'm sorry, you guys don't crucify me, but
Yeah.
I know that bad credit is very prominent in our community. Bad credit is very prominent in our community. So this is another service that I can provide as well, where I help you to rebuild your credit. Because to be honest, if the thing about credit is that credit is not something to fear. Credit is actually a blessing if you use it properly, right? Because with credit, because remember, a lot of the wealthy people build assets by using debt.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? Even the world, once money started being printed, we started using debt. Right? The world is built on the backs of debt, right? But then they're saying leverage this debt, build your asset, and pay it back. Right? And that's why a lot of us are able to get mortgages, because that's exactly what it is. With good credit, you can access a mortgage where somebody is giving you money, right? To pay the house. And then that house is growing in equity that you can leverage for other things, right? So I do that as well. And credit is very important. That's one of my passions. Credit is important in helping people understand how to navigate that. And then, yes, as a financial advisor, yes, because at the end of the day, I by myself cannot do everything. Right? One person cannot do everything. Right now, I'm on a mission to really help our community, help, the African community. Right? And I'm trying to help as many families that I can to be able to taste financial independence and financial freedom. Right? So right now, in order for me to be able to achieve that, because there's so many people, Ghanaian Canadians, there's so many Africans in Canada. Right? So when I said the recruiting is more of I am expanding, right? I'm expanding and I'm looking for people who are ready to help our community, people who are ready to become financial advisors and help me on my mission to liberating our community. Right? To minimizing the stress, right? So if you're interested, I know you're going to put my information, get on a call with me. I will tell you exactly what this opportunity is all about. And we will go from there. But it's something it's a crusade that is being launched out there, right?
Excellent. I think you briefed me about it the other day, and it sounds very, very interesting. And you actually got my attention on that. So that's something that I really would definitely connect with you and contact. So I'll put the link below, as you have mentioned. But leading to that question, I know anytime that something new, I won't even say new, this financial literacy and helping people plan for their estates and financial advice, sometimes it sounds like a foreign to us within our community. What has the reception been so far dealing with the community? What has been the reception so far from the community?
I think I'm so happy that, I think because I did not grow up in the community, right? I always say I grew up more in the Caribbean community. All of my friends, that's where I played, right? So I think that also gave me the opportunity to be an outsider looking in, to see how our community behaves, to see how our community operates, right? So a lot of times I'm I really cut off a lot of the negativity, right? Because I know that what I have is going to bring value and is going to bring hope to you, right? So I'm very, even when people are being like, oh, your Chromuha or and pay life insurance, that's fine. But that's not going to stop me from communicating, because all I need is one person to listen. I don't need 2,000 people to listen. I want 2,000 people to listen. But all I need is for 1 or 2 or 3 people, because then that becomes the validation that this works.
Yes.
And then everybody will come. That's why Jesus chose 12 disciples.
Right.
Right? He could have had all the people that wanted to follow him. Yes. But he selected, because sometimes we need some people to believe it. And I've been really fortunate in getting some people who, I've taught a couple of lessons and webinars with the GCAO, the Women's Wing. right?
Yes.
And I've
Yes.
also taught, I did a seminar with one thing too I want to really start doing is to partner up with immigration consultant firms so that when, let's say, the new immigrants come, they get a course on how money works in Canada, on
Yeah.
how the financial system works.
Yeah.
Because sometimes if we don't teach them, that's when they start, and they're like, especially somebody who comes here who maybe did not have all the money in the world, and then they come in, they give free money credit card, and then they spend it all, and then now they're in a bad turmoil, right? So I want to make sure that there are things that are in place, and this is not even only a vision for Canada. I also want to be able to go back to Ghana and create a financial literacy academy that will also benefit Ghana as well.
So that's more of, I think this looks like you kind of read my mind. I was going to ask you about the whole, especially with the international students, right? You have an influx of international students coming in, an influx of new people. I'm not a financial advisor, but sometimes I'm getting the phone call, Kobina, what should I do? What can I do? So I think it's a very good approach that you are. So if they come to you now, like what will be the new people? Because I know they're all looking for different avenues, right, to explore. How would you be able to help them in that terms with getting their life started, giving them advice to stay away from these credit cards, and even potentially buying a house? What will be your communication to the new people coming in?
I think when a new person come, what I want to do is I believe that foundational building is so important. Right. So with my Grace Found Me, the mission is that to build and nurture the foundation of the youth so that they can dream big. So I'm very big on foundational building, because what is the foundation of money, right? Let's look at your foundation. Let's look at where you're coming from. Growing up, what was your relationship with money? Was money a problem in the house? Because a lot of times, if you start diving into that, that's when you start to understand why people do the things that they do. Let's say if money was scarce in the household, there's two things that people tend to do. It's either they save every single penny that they make and never enjoy life because they think if they eat it, they're gonna everything is gonna disappear, or they spend everything because they're afraid that it will never come back again.
Yes.
Right? And then we're buying things to please people that don't even care about us. Right? So the whole goal is to help them look at, we don't even have to talk about anything else, but help you understand how the financial structure in Canada looks like. There is a credit system. There's a banking system. Because the thing is, when somebody comes here, let's say within the first month, they go to the bank. Bank does a credit check. The bank gives them a bank account. What does the bank also do? They hand them a credit card. They hand them a credit card. And once they hand them a credit card, what happens? They don't even know what this credit card is for. So I want to get them in the beginning to teach them all these things so that they can understand, so that even when they have a credit card, they know how to handle it.
Yes. And I think, as you're saying, that's the foundational building, right? Because it's like you can't do without a credit, but once you get it, you gotta be a steward of it and making sure that you take care of it. And I know you touched a little bit about the plans for Ghana, so I think I wanted to zoom a little bit more. How do we bring this gap? Because you have acquired such a knowledge living in Canada, all the financial acumens. How do we bring the gap, and also, your future plan for Ghana, and how do we really bring this gap?
I think we got to bridge this gap because this is the thing. There's a reason why all of us came here.
Yes.
To come and change our lives, to come access the things that we came to access. But the goal was not to stay here for 40, 50 years and do nothing with your gift.
Yes.
Your gift only makes room for you when to whom much is given, much is required. Right? To whom much is given, much is required. So the gifts that you have, even the doctors that are here, right? When have you even gone back to volunteer in Ghana? Really give back that to the economy, because now you've been educated and they think Canadian education is better. But when do you go back there and now maybe create technologies that are not in Ghana, that maybe is here, that we can use to perfect our economy, where people are not running to Canada and the US for medicals? Like that's what a lot of these rich people do. They don't even in Canada because they think that it's not good. So they're always up here, right? Leveraging that, right? So the gap means that all of us need to rise up and say that, you know what, the only way, because eventually all of us, if something was to happen right now and they were to say, everybody go back to your country, you can't stay in Canada. You got to go back there. But then what are you bringing back? Right? Because the financial structure, a lot of times, because we did not learn it, we don't know. And because of where we come from. So how do we break it? Because if we don't do it, the next generation is going to be in the same position that we are in today.
They will suffer. They will even suffer more than us. They will suffer more than us.
So we need to go back and create things that are really going to be valuable to the economy. And because financial knowledge is something that we don't know, because sometimes this guy was telling me, he's like, oh, you know, my son and my grandpa, no, it was
what happened? Yeah,
there's no more money.
Yeah. And even here too, some people start off well with the real estate, make some money out of it, and then all of a sudden it blow off. So definitely, I think it's really something that the community really needs. And I'm really, really glad that you have really taken on this mantle to really help educate the community when it comes to finances. Because all of us are struggling, including myself. I think one other question that I have for you is that what are some of the projects that you have in the pipeline, like coming up that we can all tap into? If somebody is watching, or what are some of the projects?
So I have a project that I'm going to be doing. I have an event actually on November 5th, and it's going to be at the GCAO Resource Hub, which is about, I think it's 65 Mayo Road in Toronto. And it's going to be at 3, and it's going to be an in-person, because I want us to have in-person. I want us to touch each other and speak. Really, I want to speak to people.
Yes.
Zoom is good, but I want to speak to people. I want my voice to be heard. I want all of us to start to really understand and work together and build that community. So that's going to be, you know, the topic is I'm doing financial education series. The first one I'm doing is Let's Talk Money. Right? And then I'm going to be doing some about how to plan for your children's future, the options to planning for your kids. I'm going to we're going to talk about one about credit, right? How to manage your debt, how to pay off debt, right? And we're going to have another one about investing, how to invest, you know, create a bulletproof financial plan that is bulletproof against recession, inflation, right? And so that we can start to see that these things are possible.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And I believe that a lot of people are like, you know, because we did put a thing there that I am looking for people to join my team, people who are, very have the willingness to learn, the willingness to change lives, their lives and other people. But I want to tell you that you don't need to be 100% good. You don't need to be financially free to help somebody to become financially free. Both of you can go on the journey together. As you're learning, you're pouring it out to somebody else. And that's really the most perfect thing that you can do. As you're learning, you're helping other people. Yeah. Right? So you don't have to be, and since, sometimes people say, me weird, then I will go help people. Yes. But you can actually help people on your journey.
So basically, you're also helping the women, right? The women wing with the Ghanaian Association. And what about the youth side? Is this something that you have also tapped into?
Yes. So the youth side also, we invite for them to come on as well. But one thing is, I'm going to be hosting an event where it's focused on getting the kids out, especially, there's this academy that I have for kids 13 to 18, really teaching them about credit.
Yes.
Right? So that when they get to 18, it's nothing to them. Right? So getting and really teaching, and there's a wide vision. I want eventually to be able to even teach these things through my academy at the schools, because it's very important. It's very important that we start normalizing financial education, because if we don't, all of us, it affects all of us.
Yeah. I can hear that from your voice. You're very, very passionate about. And in terms of Canada itself, is there any partnership that you have that is also helping you or promoting any other agencies that are helping you in terms of promotion and really making sure that we get the message out? Any partnership?
I've been really fortunate to be in partnership with the GCAO, but I am looking for partnership. I am looking for like-minded people, right? Like-minded people who are also on the mission to really help, like I said, immigration consultants, right? All different people who this will benefit. We can have a beneficial, collaboration and even partnerships with people who are ready to do this, who are ready to really change the trajectory of their lives and also the life of our community. Because our community, if nobody acts, if nobody stands up, it's going to stay the same. We just need people to really wake up and want to help. And I do a lot of I'm a woman of God first, right? And everything that I do, I teach it through godly principles. Right? And I teach it through grace because all of us have made mistakes. We're not out there to condemn people. We're out there to show grace, to give grace to people and help people understand that even though you've been there, that doesn't mean you can't overcome it. Right? It's like a message of hope, a message of grace, a message of peace back into your life, right?
Wow. It looks like you get a counseling piece as well to your message as well. I think as we're coming down to the very end of the conversation, what will be your final word to the diaspora, especially the Ghanaians and the Africans, not just living in Canada, but in the diasporas in terms of finances and different avenues they can tap into?
Yeah. I think, sometimes the diaspora, I think we need to really realize that individually, we have the power to change Ghana. Right? We have the power to do things that's going to help our community, but we need to do it. And I think one thing in our community that I hear a lot is, we're very hard on ourselves and we're very negative too. Right? In terms of when it comes to change, media it's like it doesn't matter if nobody's going to rise up. You do it. You be the example. You be the testimony that's going to drive people to want to do it. But if everybody says, you're chrome for the there will never be change. Right? So you just get up, you mobilize, and you do it. The rest will follow. Right? Do what you can, and God will reward you. God will give you the strength and cause people to come to help you.
Amen. Looks like you have really, gave me an extra boost, extra motivation, and extra encouragement. But really wonderful having you and giving us all this wisdom.